Eating the Baby Jesus, an interview with Mary Jane Good. Okay, so why don't you just start by telling everyone who you are?
This is Meredith's grandmother, Mary Jane Good.
My Gram, yeah. Or sometimes called Bean. Gram, do you mind telling us how old you are?
I'm 86.
Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood?
I had a wonderful, wonderful childhood. I was born during the Depression, before the Great War, World War II. And I lived in an ethnic neighborhood with Macedonians and Yugoslavians and Czechoslovakians and all different kinds of wonderful people to associate with and to learn from and to grow from. And it was probably one of the best childhoods anybody could have had as far as getting to know people and different cultures. So I really was blessed in growing up to have that surrounding me.
And where was that neighborhood?
It was in Indianapolis, Indiana. It was an area called Hawville.
Huh. My understanding is that both of your parents worked when you were little.
Yes, my mother was a legal secretary for 3 attorneys.
Wow.
And my dad worked in a foundry. And mother worked during the day, and my dad worked at night. And my grandmother took care of me, my mother's mother, during the day. And so whatever I did during the day, my mother would hear about it. And razor straps were very important at that time. And so about 4:30 in the afternoon, I'd begin thinking, what did I do today?
Oh no.
And so I was raised in a pretty strict area, pretty strict way.
So on that note, will you tell us about the Christmas that you ate baby Jesus?
Oh yes, I'll gladly tell you about that. I was 3, a little over 3, and in between 3 and 4. And my friend was just a few months older than I, and her name was Mary Lou Dugar. And it was on Saturday, and my mother and my aunt had gone shopping for Christmas. And my aunt had her nativity scene underneath her Christmas tree. And Mary Lou and I were playing with the figures, going to Jesus and being very religious in that way. And I picked up the baby Jesus, and I remember thinking, well, this doesn't feel like the others, because the others were of another material. They were hard. This baby Jesus was soft and kind of pliable. And I said to Mary Lou, look at this. And she said, yeah. And I, being 3, I guess, I said, wonder how it tastes. So I took a bite. And I said, you want a bite? She said, yeah, we'll take a bite. So we ate the baby Jesus. So my mother and my aunt came home from shopping, and they were gathering me up, and my aunt happened to look over at the nativity scene, and she said, Helen, my mother's name, Helen, the baby Jesus is gone. And my mother, they looked around, and of course then I knew I'd really done it. I'd done something wrong. And so my mother looked at me and she said, Mary Jane? And yeah. What happened to the baby Jesus? Where is it? I ate him, Mommy. You what? Well, that didn't go over very well, mind you. So needless to say, Mary Jane received a little punishment for that. Mary Lou had to go home to her mother as my mother walked her across the street, because you couldn't cross the street without mommy looking. And the next thing I went to Aunt Odetta's house, they had a new baby Jesus in the manger. So that's exactly how it happened, and I'm owning up to it.
I love that story. Thank you for sharing it.
You're more than welcome.
I must have heard the story of my grandmother eating the baby Jesus a dozen times growing up. But still I came upon this Christmas thinking it was my mother who had eaten the baby Jesus. That happens sometimes. Even with stories that get told over and over and over again, some of the details get mixed up. I wonder, what stories are told in your family around the holiday season? I wonder what details might have you mixed up. And I wonder what new stories can be told this holiday season. No matter if you're meeting with your family over Zoom or on the phone or social distancing, I challenge you to share your stories this Christmas.